So first up, Kristen Doute was on Josh Peck's podcast. I don't know if you guys remember Josh Peck. He was from Drake and Josh. He was not Drake. He was Josh. And so Josh Peck has a podcast now. He's actually really funny. I guess he's always been funny, but he's like funny and he's actually like kind of cute. He was like on a show with John Stamos for a minute. Anyway, he has a podcast, and Kristen Doute revealed that they were only offered $5,000 for the first season of Vanderpump Rules, which initially to them felt like a lot. Like they were like, we're ragging in the dough. Remember, they were servers at Sir. Like they weren't making any money. They didn't know what the hell was going on. So to them, $5,000 was a lot. Later on her own podcast, she had Jax, and they talked about it again, and they revealed that $5,000, yes, was the initial offer, but then they got paid an additional $5,000 for making it as a show primary. So I guess $5,000 is what everyone made. So Schwartz probably made $5,000, but then the people that ended up becoming the primaries on the show, they got the additional, so that brings season 1 to a total of $10,000, which is actually more than like Real Housewives of New York, right? Didn't Bethany say that she only made like what, $7,000-8,000 for her first season of Housewives? So budgets have gotten bigger. 10,000 is a good chunk of change for a first season on a brand new reality show, on a spinoff of a reality show. I think that's good. I know that by 2020 it was reported they were making about $25,000 per episode, and Lisa was making about $50,000 per episode of Vanderpump Rules. That was like back in 2020, so I'm sure they're making around that. I can only imagine. They have to at least be making, like Ariana has to be at $50,000 per episode for this new season. She just has to be. If that was what they were making in 2020, when Vanderpump wasn't even at its peak, because that season, that was the last season with Jax, Kristen, and Stassi, that wasn't even a great season. It was a fine season, but that's when they brought in Brett and Danica and Dana and Max, and they had all the newbies, and it was just so all over the place. But, I mean, Lisa has to be making major bank off Vanderpump now. Like, come on. After Scandal and, like, the popularity, like, it's literally the #1 show on cable right now. But Jack said that going back to that first season, he was like, we thought that we were rich. He said that he thought that at that point he had so much credit card debt that he thought that he would be able to retire off of this money. He's like, this is it, $10,000. I'm set for life, which is just kind of funny. And I think it also speaks to the naivete, which is, I think, what made the show so good and so real, is they were really broke kids just trying to make it. It's funny saying broke kids, right? Because they were like in their late 20s, early 30s at this point. So, I mean, I guess, well, I'm 30 now. I just can't imagine. I don't know. I couldn't imagine being like 30 and being like, I'm a struggling actor / bartender / model. Like, listen, they hit the jackpot. I mean, it's the story of LA, of Hollywood. You're young and you're broke and you're just trying to get by until you actually make it, and until you become Angelina Jolie, or you go back to Ohio. Luckily for them, they didn't have to go to Kentucky. But now they're back. Jax and Kristen. Guess who's back again. So Lala Kent teased on a Amazon Live that filming for the spinoff was set to begin last week, and it looks like it happened over the weekend, because it looks like Jax and Brittany were hosting a tattoo party at their place, and it appears that there were cameras there, and it also appears that Scheana and Lala Kent were there. It doesn't even appear that way, because that's what they posted on their Instagram stories, is that they were there and they were getting tattoos, and they got matching mommy tattoos. Scheana got Summer on her hand, and Brittany got Cruise, and Lala had an O for Ocean tatted on her hand. And then I think Kristen got like the initials of her dog or something. But it made me think, like, so could Scheana and Lala actually also be part of this spinoff? Could Vanderpump Rules be wrapping up, and now Scheana and Lala are going to be dipping over, not dipping out of Vanderpump Rules and now dipping in to another show, not Raquel Leviss? Could it be that they're going to plan like a crossover special? Like, remember how Beverly Hills did it when they first introduced us to Vanderpump Rules, and it was the sit down with Scheana and Brandy, and the next thing you know it, you go from watching Scheana and Brandy to watching Vanderpump Rules. Maybe they're just making a cameo. I don't know. I'm not mad at this, though. I, for one, am definitely here for Lala and Scheana joining the spinoff. I think they're the only two on the current cast of Vanderpump Rules that have kids that are still in contact with Jax, Brittany, and Kristen. So I wouldn't be mad if they were joining the spinoff. I know it's a short spinoff, and I believe they're planning it for Peacock, right? Not for Bravo. That may not be the case because I know like Crappy Lake with Luann and Sonia, that was also like a possible Peacock or Bravo thing, and then they ended up just airing it on Bravo. So it seems like Bravo's moving away from launching things on Peacock first and then airing them on Bravo. It looks like it's the opposite, where they're airing them on Bravo and then making them available next day on Peacock, which is a smart strategy. I think it's a good strategy, and I think it still encourages people to tune in and watch. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I could see it. We know Stassi's not returning, but I can definitely see Lala, Scheana, Jax, Brittany, and Kristen. Maybe a newbie or two that we haven't really seen yet, or that's like Christina Kelly could be an interesting mix, right? Because she is a mom and she's part of the she's in that world as well. But meanwhile, the rest of the cast was filming the regular Vanderpump Rules over the weekend, and I believe they were all at the Belmont hanging out. It looks like it was Tom Sandoval, Tom Schwartz, James, Ariana, and Katie. And even though Tom and Ariana were both there, they stayed at opposite ends of the bar. And according to The Sun, they had zero contact with each other. Ariana made it clear at the reunion that she had no intention of ever filming with Sandoval again or ever speaking to him again, or anybody that's close to him, which I think might be weird if Scheana ends up letting Sandoval back in, or whoever does let Sandoval back in. She did make that very clear to Schwartz in the finale. So yeah, she apparently does not want to film with him, and producers aren't happy about that because obviously they're filming a television show, and Ariana and Sandoval happen to be at the center of the scandal. I think this is interesting, right? Because Ariana's refusing to film with Sandoval. Sandoval is struggling to like find his footing on the show now, and then Raquel's not coming back. So I kind of feel like they're at this weird place, but like they also got to milk Sandoval for as much as they could and did for the past several months, where they really talked about all of this stuff on the show. So like I get it. They milked that so much that's like maybe we just move on to a different story now, or do we continue to try to milk it? I don't know. I see both sides of it, right? Because she doesn't really want to film with him. And if this is a reality show and cutting him out of her life is her reality, then I get it. Like, how many of us would still want to talk to our ex if he did that to us, right? But then there's the other side of it where you're filming a TV show, you're filming a show. So it's different because a lot of people are like, oh, well, she needs to do her job, but her job is to share her reality. Her job isn't to manufacture drama because people complain that the show is fake. Well, wouldn't it be really fake of her to force herself to speak to him on camera if she genuinely has no interest? It's like, how real and how fake do you want your reality shows to be? Because people complain when it's too produced, and then people complain when they do stuff like this. So it's like, you guys got to pick a lane. Either you want her to film and be a fake ass bitch filming with him, or you want her to be a real ass bitch and not film with him and not do her job, as people keep claiming. I mean, I get why the producers are pissed. It makes sense, but like, I get her side of it too. Curious what you think, but my thought is, it's like, if I were her, and again, this is hypothetical, right? Because I don't know what she's actually going through. But if I were her, I would just do it, right? Film with him. Not for him and not necessarily for the show, but like for your own paycheck. Like, she'll make more money by giving in and filming with him than she will not filming with him. And the thing is, she's going to have to face him at the reunion anyway. So why not just rip the Band-Aid off and have some sort of communication with him? You don't have to like make amends and be best friends with him, but like, why does it always have to be awkward around everybody every time you guys have to be in a group setting together? Like, why can't you just like talk through it and figure something out? I don't know. I think, listen, people will want to watch their first interaction. Can they find some mending? Can they repair their relationships? What will they have to say to each other now that the dust has settled? So I think it could make some good, compelling television and it could also bring in some good ratings. So my thing is, it's like, yeah, make some good TV, get some solid ratings, collect your check, and just keep moving on. Like, you don't have to give him the power of the time of day of like being nice and building a friendship with him, but it's like, but you could still, have something, right? Like, get your check. That's my thought. I would just lean into it, maybe find some healing through it as well, right? Forgiveness is rarely for those people for the other people that hurt you, and it's more for yourself and your own closure. So maybe it can be healing for her to kind of talk through some things and kind of, release some of that anger a bit. Listen, I'm not defending what he did. I think it was wrong. I think it was despicable. I've definitely given him a firm beating on this show, but like, I just think nothing helps healing your heart quicker than a bigger paycheck and higher ratings. So if anything, just like do it for the show. Do it for the plot, girl. Do it for the show plot.